Because with all of the wonderful people that were excited about the announcement and about the show being dubbed in general, there were a handful of people who, for whatever reason, can't help themselves. And they just start spewing lies, slander, meanness, hatred. And I don't understand. I just don't understand. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of it springs, and I'm going to stand right here in front of you on this camera, and I'm going to look you right in the face, and I'm going to tell you guys what I've told tens of thousands of people before you. One of the biggest things that these few people tend to say about me is that I'm homophobic. That I've been banned from conventions for making homophobic remarks, that I hate the fans, that I'm cruel to people. It makes me more heartbroken than angry, because I've spent so many years in this industry and have endeavored to be kind to people every single time, even if we didn't agree. I've never been cruel to anybody. I've never made any kind of homophobic remarks. And here's the scary part. Here's where that flawed thinking comes from. You ready? Christians hate gays. Vic is a Christian. Therefore, Vic must hate gays. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. That's the ignorant kind of misunderstanding that people fall into. And here's the sad part. The sad part is that most Christians aren't that way. Excuse me, real Christians aren't that way. I'm sorry, but we're not going to church. Don't get scared. Let me tell you something. I can't imagine anybody claiming the name of Christ and being hateful to people. I can't even understand where they get that. Christ, Christian, right? It's right in the name. And yet, there are a handful of them who do and say horrible things in God's name. And all you'd have to do, if you have half a brain, is to step back for 1 minute and go, okay, well, they're clearly deranged. That makes sense, right? Common sense would tell you clearly that, it doesn't compute. God loves you, but he hates you. No, it really doesn't work that way. He just loves you. Period. End of story. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter where you're going, where you've been, he loves you. Period. That's it. But there are people out there in our industry, you guys, in the anime world. I guess they're lonely. I guess they're sad. If they weren't so mean, I would feel sorry for them. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They must be so unhappy in themselves. Feeling so insignificant that they've got to get some attention. They've got to make a splash somehow. They've got to be noticed. They've got to be heard. Even if they have to say mean, horrible things about somebody who's never done anything to them. I want you to help me do something. Will you help me?
Yeah!
Let's be a voice for good. Guys, I know that sounds kind of, throw a pie in the sky, Vic, thank you. Here's what I mean by that. The vast majority of us are really good people. But you know what? We don't say anything. We sit quietly by while a very small minority of people makes a lot of noise. There's a very famous saying, and I loved it so much I even worked it into one of my Star Trek episodes. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. So I would like to ask you guys, as good men and women, do something. When you're online, when you're in forums, when you're on websites, and you see somebody talking garbage, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about in general. When you see people spreading hatred and meanness and judgment and condemnation, be a voice for good. Be a voice for love. Be a voice for light. It's great that you guys are so awesome. But if you keep it to yourself, it doesn't change people. Nothing changes. See what I'm saying? If you just keep it in your own little container. A song just came to my mind. Love isn't love until you give it away. Anybody ever heard that song? It doesn't do anybody any good until you share it. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? Look at you guys. There are so many more of you than there are of them. If you guys if we just bond together and go, you know, we're not going to let that kind of meanness and hatred and slander and just junk, we're not going to let it take over our industry. It's just a handful of people. And I don't know, if you're a religious person, pray for them. I know that sounds weird, but try to be kind, but just don't let that stuff prevail. You guys, be a voice for good, okay? Be a voice for good.